I can't feel my arms. They're gone. These 7 words were said by 18-year-old John Thompson of North Dakota. He had phoned his cousin after a freak accident. How did he dial her phone number with no arms? Well, that is just a small part of an incredible story. On the 11th of January 1992, John was working on his family farm in Herdsfield, North Dakota. Home alone, he decided to unload barley from a truck into a 30-foot tall metal bin. He set the auger, a drill-like metal shaft, into place and parked a tractor next to the auger so that a metal shaft called a power takeoff, which sets the auger in motion, could carry the grain into the bin. It was a chore he had performed many times, but this time John slipped backwards onto the power takeoff. As there was no safety shield, John was sucked into the powerful shaft that spins at a speed of 10 to 20 revolutions per second. John blacked out from the shock and only woke up when his dog Tuffy kept licking his face repeatedly. When he realised what had happened, his instincts, and no doubt adrenaline, kicked in. He ran 90 metres to the farmhouse and tried to get in, only to discover that the patio door was locked. He eventually found a way into the house through the garage before kicking in the door of his father's den. He had to get into there as this was the only room in the house with a push-button phone. John picked up a pencil in his teeth and punched in his cousin's number from memory. He didn't call 911 because the town was so small that there was no 911 service. After taking the call from John, his cousin Tammy jumped into action. She called the local cafe to get hold of her stepmother, who in turn got hold of a local ambulance crew run by volunteers 13 miles away in another town. Tammy then called her mother and said that she needed a ride out to the farm, and together the 3 women drove the 3 miles and cautiously entered the blood-spattered house. They found John curled up in the bathtub, more worried about getting in trouble for getting blood on the carpet than he was about having lost both of his arms. It took 30 minutes for the 3-man ambulance crew to arrive, and when they did, well, one was still studying to be an emergency medical technician, one only had basic training, and the third was the manager of the local grain elevator, had only been trained in CPR, and this was his first ambulance run. So it fell to John to organise things. He directed the crew to collect his arms and where to find ice and garbage bags to put them in. With that done, he was wrapped in blankets and driven 23 miles to the nearest hospital. From there, he was flown to North Memorial Hospital, where he underwent a 6-hour surgery to reattach his arms. Amazingly, the surgery was a success, and in time, John was able to regain some limited use of his arms and hands. The story became an overnight sensation, and the sudden thrust into the limelight was quite a shock for the young small-town man, but he handled it admirably. In the years that followed, John wrote a book about his experience, worked in real estate, and engaged in his passion for singing. Nowadays, it's hard to get a read on where he is and what he's up to. But wherever he is and whatever he's doing, no doubt he's continuing to do it with that same quiet stoicism that saw him experience, survive, and recover from a brutal accident.